Smart Phonics. Today we are going to discuss about the syllable rules. We already know what is a syllable. It is a unit of pronunciation that has one vowel sound. So the number of vowel sounds will be equal to the number of syllables. And also you could determine the number of syllables by putting your hand under your chin and saying the word aloud. And the number of times your chin touches your hand gives the number of syllables. This is just a recap of what we have seen already, and this slide is also discussed earlier. This gives a very few rules to divide a word into syllables. First we underline the vowel sounds, and then depending upon the consonants, the number of consonants between the vowels, we make the division before the consonant or between the two consonants or after the first consonant. We discussed only a very few rules because at that time we did not know what are digraphs, trigraphs, and other concepts which are necessary to understand the syllable rules. And we also saw recently the types of syllables after we knew what are digraphs, split digraphs, etc. So this slide is also just a recap to understand the types of syllables. Now let us see the syllable rules in detail. The first rule states that every syllable has a vowel sound. This is evident from the definition itself, because a syllable is a unit of pronunciation that has one vowel sound. So when you take the word tulip and divide it into syllables, you could see that the first syllable has the vowel sound U and the next syllable has the vowel sound A. But consonant plus LE is the only syllable without a vowel sound. The next rule is that when you have a compound word, that is a word made up of two smaller words, then you need to divide between the compound words because it will be easier for dividing it into syllables. For example, when you see the word sunshine, you could clearly see there are two smaller words in this single word, sun and shine. So you could easily divide it between the two smaller words. The third rule: separate suffixes and prefixes from the root word. When you take this word disrespect, dis is a prefix and respect is the root word. So when you separate the prefix from the root word, you easily get the first syllable. In the next example, fastest, when you separate the suffix from the root word, you easily divide the word into syllables. The fourth rule: keep vowel themes together. It could be digraphs or diphthongs. For example, rainbow. Here A is a digraph and O is a digraph, and so it comes in the same syllable. The fifth rule is that the vowel themes count as one even when there are two vowels because they work together to make one sound. For example, peanut. Here E and A are two vowels but they make one sound, and so they come in the same syllable. Silent E doesn't make a sound and so it doesn't get its own syllable. For example, compile. Here this E is silent and this E changes the sound of the vowel I from short to long, and so it is also called as the magic E. Since this is silent, it doesn't get its own syllable. So I and E, two vowels, they come under the same syllable because a silent E doesn't get its own syllable. In the next example, lovely. Here this E is silent, so the vowel O and E comes in the same syllable. Consonant plus LE is the only syllable where the silent E gets its own syllable. This E is silent. Though it is silent, it gets its own syllable. The seventh rule. If a vowel theme is not known, then divide between the vowels. For example, L, I, O, N. Here I, O are two vowels that are next to each other, but we do not know this vowel theme. We know O, I is a vowel theme that sounds like oi, but we do not know any vowel theme like I, O. So we have to divide between the vowels. So this becomes an open syllable. So the vowel is long. Lion. The eighth rule. If there is one consonant between the two vowels, usually divide before the consonant. So when there is one consonant between two vowels, then you need to divide before the consonant in most cases. So the vowel becomes long because it's open. So tulip. And the ninth rule, if there are two consonants between the two vowels, then usually divide between the consonants. For example, napkin. Here you could see that there are two consonants between the two vowels, so we have to divide between the consonants. Similarly, rabbit. We have two consonants between two vowels, so we have to divide between the consonants. Keep heterogeneous consonant digraphs together. For example, worship. Here you could see SH are two consonants between the two vowels, but we have to keep the heterogeneous consonant digraphs together. So we make the division accordingly. Worship. Here BB is a digraph, but this is a homogeneous consonant digraph. So we are dividing between the consonants, whereas here SH is a heterogeneous consonant digraph, so they have to be together when you divide it into syllables. If there are three consonants between the two vowels, then usually divide after the first consonant. For example, illustrate. So there are two consonants between two vowels, so you divide between the consonant. In the next case, you have the vowel here and another vowel is here, and you have three consonants between them. So usually you divide after the first consonant. When you have this pattern, check for any heterogeneous consonant digraphs because they have to be together. For example, laughter. Here you could see AU is a vowel sound and is a R controlled vowel, and between these two we have three consonants G, H and T. But we have to keep the heterogeneous consonant digraphs together. So GH, that makes sound, is a heterogeneous consonant digraph. So we divide it after the second consonant so that this heterogeneous consonant digraph will remain together. Also keep the consonant blends together. For example, adjustment. So when you divide the word into syllables, you could see that here we have the vowel U and we have the vowel E, and we have three consonants between the two vowels. Here we are making the division after the second consonant and not after the first consonant because ST is a consonant blend. We will be discussing about consonant blends very soon. So in order to keep these consonant blends together, we are making the division in this way. The 11th rule. If a word ends in a consonant followed by LE, then divide before the consonant. This implies that LE, L, is taken together as a vowel sound with silent E. That is why we call this as L, because the E is silent. And this is the only syllable in which a silent E gets its own syllable. For example, table. The word ends with a consonant followed by LE, so we have to divide it before the consonant. And so this vowel becomes open with a long sound, table. Similarly, humble, you have a consonant followed by LE at the end of the word, so we have to divide before the consonant. And here, since this vowel is closed with a consonant, this is short, we have humble. But there are some exceptions to this rule, which we will be discussing later on. Here we find some patterns that we find in a word, and we are going to see the division rules for each of these patterns. When there are three consonants between two vowels, we usually divide after the first consonant like this. When there are two consonants between two vowels, then we divide between the consonants. And if there is only one consonant between two vowels, we divide before the consonants. We have seen these rules earlier, and this is the most widely used rule. If there are two vowels and if this vowel theme is not known, that is, if it doesn't form a digraph or a diphthong, then we have to divide between the vowels. And this is the consonant followed by LE at the end of a word rule. That is the 11th rule we have seen already. In this case, we have to divide before the consonant. In this pattern, where there are three consonants between two vowels, we have to keep in mind that the heterogeneous consonant digraphs and consonant blends should come together in the same syllable. So, though this is the widely used rule, if there is a consonant digraph in these three consonants, we have to make the division accordingly so that the consonant digraphs, the heterogeneous consonant digraphs and consonant blends come together in the same syllable. If the first two consonants form a heterogeneous consonant digraph or a consonant blend, then we have to make the division after that. So in this case, the division will come after the second consonant instead of the first consonant. If the last two consonants were to form a heterogeneous consonant digraph or a consonant blend, then the division will come before that. So this will follow the usual rule of dividing after the first consonant. In another way, we could join these two C's to form a single C if it is a consonant digraph or a consonant blend. Then we get the pattern VCCV, VCCV. And we know that we have to divide between the consonants if this pattern is present. So in which case we get the syllable easily. Even for this case, where there are two consonants between two vowels, we have to keep the heterogeneous consonant digraphs together. So if these two C's represent a heterogeneous consonant digraph, then we have to keep it together in one syllable. So you could join these two C's to make a single C. We get VCV, and in this case we usually divide before the consonant and sometimes after the consonant. There is no rule to decide whether we have to divide before the consonant or after the consonant in the case of VCV pattern, but in most cases we will be dividing before the consonant. We saw this rule already, and in this C consonant plus LE rule there are exceptions which we'll be discussing later on. We saw that we have to keep the consonant blends together. Here I have listed some of the consonant blends. There is no need to memorize this as in the case of digraph or diphthongs because they are going to blend anyway. but this is a L blend where the consonants have L at the end, and this is an R blend, and this is S blend. Here S comes at the start of the blend, and these are some other consonant blends. So having seen all these rules, let us see how to divide a word into syllables step by step. So the first step, if it is a compound word, then we have to divide between the two words. Step 2, if there are any suffixes or prefixes, then divide between the root word and the suffixes or prefixes. Step 3, spot the first two vowels or vowel teams. If a vowel team is not known, then divide between the vowels. Step 4, check the number of consonants between the vowels and vowel teams. Depending on the number of consonants, determine which division rule applies. Step 5, spot the next vowel or vowel team and repeat the steps till the end of the word. Step 6, if a word ends in a consonant followed by LE, then divide before the consonant. If it is a heterogeneous consonant digraph plus LE, then divide before LE. This is an exception, and there are few more exceptions also to this rule, but this is the most widely followed rule. If a word ends in a consonant and LE, then divide before the consonant. Now let us see some example to understand how to divide the word into syllables in a better way. The first word we are going to take is poetry. So we have to spot the first two vowels or vowel team. Here O is a vowel and V is a vowel, but we do not know this vowel team. So we have to divide between the vowels. When you divide between the vowels, you get the first syllable, ho. This is a long vowel sound because it is open. Now spot the next two vowels, E and Y. Y here is acting as a vowel, and there are two consonants between the two vowels, so the rule is to divide between the consonants. And as you can see, these two consonants does not make a heterogeneous consonant digraph, so we have to divide between the two consonants. After this division, we get the second syllable, and this is the last syllable. So when you see here, the vowel is closed by a consonant, so it has a short vowel sound, and here Y has a long E sound because it is a multisyllable word and Y is coming at the end of a multisyllable word. Poetry. So we divided the word poetry into syllables, 3 syllables. The next word, hibernate. Imagine you do not know how to pronounce this word. First, spot the two vowels or vowel teams. Here ER is a R controlled vowel, so we have to take this together and this I together. And then we have one consonant between these two V's, so we have to divide before the consonant. When you divide before the consonant, you get an open syllable here, hi, I. And then we have to spot the next two vowels or vowel team. So this is a vowel team already identified. Now when you look at this is a split digraph. So this comes under one vowel team, and there is one consonant between two vowels, and so we will be dividing before the consonant. When you divide it before the consonant, you get the syllables. Hibernate. This is a split digraph. This is a silent E, so it doesn't get its own syllable. Instead, it makes the sound of this vowel too long. Complex. The first two vowels O and E, and we have three consonants between the two vowels. When you look at the three consonants, we do not have any consonant digraph, but we have a consonant L blend. So we are going to group these two together into one. and we get the pattern VCCV. For this pattern we have to divide between the two consonants, so we get the two syllables complex. This is a short vowel sound, and here also we have a short vowel sound because the syllables are closed by a consonant. Chimpanzee. Identify the first two vowels I, A. We have two consonants between them, so divide between the consonants. We get the first syllable chim. Spot the next two vowels. We have a vowel digraph here, so we are going to take these two together, and we have two consonants, so divide between the two consonants. We get the syllables chim, pan, z. Let's look at few more examples. Let's take the word adjustment. The first two vowels A and U, two consonants between them, so divide between the two consonants. We get the first syllable. Identify the next two vowels. We have three consonants, so just look for some consonant blends or heterogeneous consonant digraph. Here we could spot a consonant blend, so we take these two together and we get the pattern VCCV. For this we have to divide between the consonants, so we make the division here. We get the syllables adjustment. All the vowels are closed, so they have a short sound. The next word illustrate. We have the first two vowels I and U, two consonants between them. This is a consonant digraph, but this is a homogeneous consonant digraph, so we have to make the division between the two consonants. So we get the first syllable ill. Now identify the next two vowels or vowel sounds. When you look at this word, we have a split digraph at the end, so we take these two vowels together because E is silent and doesn't get its own syllable, and we have three consonants between the two vowels. And when you look at this, we have a consonant blend. It could be ST or TR, both are consonant blend, so we can divide here or here, no problem. Here I have taken TR together, the R blend together, because mostly the R blend takes the preference. So this pattern will become VCCV pattern. We have to divide between the consonants in this case, and we get the three syllables illustrate. Here are a few more examples for other patterns that we have discussed. Cucumber. Now the first two vowels are U, and there is only one consonant, so we have to divide before the consonant, in which case the U becomes long because it falls in an open syllable, Q. And then when you identify the next two vowels or vowel sounds, we have U and we have the R controlled vowel so we have to take these two together, and we have two consonants between them. We have to divide between the consonants, and we get cucumber as the syllables. Disconnect. Now we have a prefix here, dis, so automatically we get the first syllable when you separate the prefix from the root word. Now identify the next two vowels. We have two consonants between them. This is a digraph but not a heterogeneous consonant digraph, so we have to divide between the consonants and we get the next two syllables. Disconnect. Now let us look at this word oatmeal. When you see this, you could see that this is made up of two smaller words, oat and meal. So if you are able to identify in that way, you could easily divide these two words in order to get the syllables oat and meal. If you do not know that this is a compound word, then as usual identify the vowels or vowel team. So O is a vowel team, and then we have E as the vowel team, and we have two consonants between them, so we divide between the two consonants. Now let us look at the word finish. Identify the first two vowels, I here and the next I here, and we have one consonant between the two vowels. Usually we have to divide before the consonant. If you divide before the consonant, then this I will become open and will have a long vowel sound. So this would be pronounced as finish, but that is not the case. So this is an exception where we divide after the consonant. We get fin-ish. So both the vowels are closed and will have a short vowel sound. So this pattern is a rare pattern. The last example, simple. This example is to show how we divide when a word ends with a consonant followed by LE. When you see these vowels I and E, there are three consonants between the two vowels. But when a word ends in LE, we take LE together because E is silent, and so L will be considered as B. Since we are considering this as V, there are two consonants between them, so the usual rule is to divide before the consonant, in which case we get the division before the consonant that is followed by LE as per the rule. So this will become simple. Now let us see few examples having LE at the end of the word. Pickle. Here I is the first vowel and C is a consonant, K is a consonant, and then it is followed by LE. So this is of the form consonant plus LE. But what you can notice here is that these two consonants form a digraph K. So we have to divide before LE instead of before the consonant. So this becomes pickle. So this is the last syllable, just LE alone. Now let us look at the next example, pebble. Here you have a vowel followed by two consonants and then LE at the end. So this is a digraph, but it is not a heterogeneous consonant digraph. So you can follow the usual rule of dividing before the consonant plus LE. So here I have used this convention, here I have used this convention. Both are okay. So you get the syllables pebble. Now let us look at the next word, particle. Now the first vowel sound is R and the next vowel is I. And you have a consonant between them. So you have to divide before the consonant in general. So you get the first syllable par. And next when we identify the next one, we have the vowel I and then LE at the end, which I'm considering it as a vowel sound. So and there is a consonant before LE. So the rule is to divide before the consonant, so we are dividing it. But here the vowel is open, still it has a short sound. This is an exception for few words that have ICLE at the end. The I will be short even though it comes in an open syllable. And similarly for ACLE also we have a short A sound even if it falls in an open syllable. Particle. We do not say particle. Now here we have the word smile. Here we have LE at the end, but when you notice it, you do not have a consonant before LE. We have a vowel. So this is a split digraph. So there is just only one vowel in this word. So there will be only one syllable in this word smile. Now let us see some of the uses of syllables. I have listed very few uses of syllables here. The syllables help to pronounce the vowels in unfamiliar words. Vowels are short in closed syllables and long in open syllables. For example, imagine you do not know how to pronounce the word computer. Just start to split the word into syllables. Identify the vowels and, depending on the number of consonants, make a division at the appropriate place. So you get the first syllable and you could see that the vowel O is closed here, so it will have a short sound. Whereas in the next team, you could see that there are the vowels U and having one consonant between them. So you need to divide before the consonant in general. The vowel is left open, so it will have a long sound. So this becomes computer. The second use. Syllables help to understand the conventions of spelling, including when to double letters. For example, imagine you do not know how to spell the word rabbit. You write only a single B here. So when you try to split it into syllables, you could see that A will come in an open syllable. So it will have a long sound and you have to pronounce it as a rabbit. But that is not the case. So we put two B's here. We have a double letter here. So that A could become a short vowel and the word is pronounced as rabbit. So these are the points to remember. We saw the recap of what is a syllable, how to determine the number of syllables and the types of syllables. We saw all the syllable rules and the division rules. For three consonants between two vowels pattern, we need to keep the consonant heterogeneous digraphs or the consonant blends together if present, and we get the VCCV pattern. And for that pattern, we still have to keep the consonant heterogeneous digraphs together if present to get VCV pattern. If it is absent, then we have to split between the two consonants. And for VCV pattern, we usually split before the consonant. Sometimes we split after the consonant, but there are no specific rules to determine when to follow which method. And for VV pattern, which is not a digraph or a diphthong, we have to split between the vowels. And we saw the steps to decode a word into syllables and some of the uses of syllables. If you have learned something new from this video, please like, share and subscribe. Knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied. Thank you.